What if the eternal glory of Rome never faded? What if that great empire never fell, but instead expanded globally? Historically, 476 AD marked the end of the Western Roman Empire. It was the culmination of centuries of internal problems and external pressures, reshaping Europe. But what if Rome found a way to overcome all challenges, continuing to exist and thrive? Let's explore a fascinating scenario where the eternal city became a global empire. The Western Roman Empire faced countless difficulties, from widespread corruption to prolonged succession crises, weakening the nation's foundations. Economic pressures also weighed heavily, as the empire's vast size and enormous military expenditures depleted the treasury. The populace suffered. Coupled with this were successive waves of migration and invasions from barbarian tribes at the borders, causing instability and devastating the lands. Roman cities gradually weakened, losing their prosperity. A trade system stagnated, making urban life more difficult than ever. Central authority gradually disintegrated, no longer strong enough to control. Generals and local lords vied for influence, creating chaos. This gave way to the rise of new barbarian kingdoms. They established rule over lands once controlled by Rome. The deposition of Romulus Augustulus in 476 AD was merely a symbol. It was not the cause, but the end. This was the end of a long-standing process of decline, concluding the glorious era of the Western Roman Empire. 476 AD ushered in a new era in Europe, a world as we still know it. But things could have been different. Instead of being mired in civil war and corruption, a series of profound reforms were implemented by brilliant emperors. The succession system became more transparent and stable, avoiding bloody power struggles. This brought a sense of security. Corruption was rigorously suppressed, establishing discipline. Officials found guilty of wrongdoing faced appropriate punishments. Power was decentralized more effectively, creating a flexible administrative apparatus. Provinces were granted greater autonomy. This apparatus was less bureaucratic, allowing for swift responses to problems. Decisions were made in a timely manner. The internal unity of the empire was maintained, avoiding the risk of internal fragmentation. Everyone worked towards a common goal. Resources were focused on economic and social development instead of being depleted by internal political conflicts. These reforms strengthened public trust in the government. Widespread support made the empire more robust. A new elite, competent and ethical, was employed. They were dedicated to serving the empire. The legal system was refined, becoming fairer for all social strata. This reduced social injustice. Distant provinces felt represented and respected. They contributed actively to the empire's common prosperity. Thanks to these reforms, Rome became a model of governance, a sustainable and highly adaptable empire. The Romans achieved an early industrial revolution. They widely applied water and steam power to production. Ancient inventions, like Hero of Alexandria's Eolipile engine, were improved. They became primary power sources. The increase in agricultural productivity was significant. New agricultural machines helped produce abundant food. Large-scale industrial goods production was established. Roman factories manufactured ceramics, metals, and textiles. A superior transportation system was developed. Roads, bridges, and canals modernized the network. More advanced ships, capable of long-distance sea travel. This spurred long-distance trade and the exploration of new lands. The Roman economy was not merely self-sufficient, but became a global manufacturing hub. Roman goods traveled worldwide. Global trade flourished. Gold and silver poured into Rome from all corners. Rome generated enormous wealth to maintain and expand the empire. This wealth strengthened its military and civil power. Architectural technology was also improved, creating more durable and magnificent structures. Roman cities grew increasingly splendid. Medicine and public hygiene were also elevated. New inventions improved the health and longevity of the populace. Thanks to technological breakthroughs, Rome overcame all challenges. They built a powerful, unconquerable industrial empire. Instead of viewing barbarian tribes as enemies, Rome adopted a wiser and more comprehensive integration policy. Tribes were invited or persuaded to join the empire. They received promises of land and rights. They were granted citizenship, for example, Latin, then Romang. This fostered a sense of belonging and loyalty. Fertile lands were fairly distributed to new tribes. This helped them stabilize their lives and develop agriculture. They had opportunities for advancement in the Roman army. Talented commanders from the tribes were utilized. Many became members of the administrative apparatus. They brought local experience and knowledge to governance. This policy transformed threats into valuable human resources. Rome no longer had to contend with constant enemies. Roman culture was enriched by absorbing new elements. Art, attire, and customs intertwined. This provided an abundant and loyal source of soldiers. The Roman army grew increasingly powerful and diverse. Territorial expansion campaigns were carried out more easily. Internal unity helped them conquer distant lands. The tribes played a crucial role in border defense. They became peacekeepers and guardians of stability. Rome built a multicultural empire, where diversity was a strength, not a weakness, for its eternal existence. The Roman army not only maintained its strength, but also continuously innovated tactics. They adapted to every enemy. Military technology was also constantly improved. New weapons and war tools were invented. They developed a diverse border defense system, not solely relying on fixed structures like Hadrian's Wall, but also on mobile, rapid-response military units. These troops could move with incredible speed. Modern outpost fortifications were built. There were strong fortresses in border regions. The adoption of improved siege weapons. Catapults and siege towers were more effective than ever. Roman artillery became superior, capable of accurate long-range attacks. Opponents could hardly resist. The Roman navy was also significantly strengthened. Powerful fleets controlled important sea lanes. They controlled strategic trade routes. This ensured stable supplies and economy. The army effectively dealt with all threats, from tribes to distant rival empires. This strengthened the empire's stability and security, laying a solid foundation for distant conquests. Rome became an unconquerable military power. Its borders were firmly defended, paving the way for a global era. With internal stability and superior strength, Rome not only repelled, but also assimilated Germanic and Slavic tribes. Other peoples were also absorbed within the empire's borders. A new Pax Romana reshaped all of Europe. Europe would not experience the Dark Ages as we know them. Instead, there would be a continuation of Roman civilization. Latin became the common language, a lingua franca in all fields, from administration to commerce and education. Roman law was the solid legal foundation for all nations and territories. Justice was administered everywhere. Roman architecture dominated urban landscapes, from bridges to temples. Rome's grandeur was present across the continent. Scientific and technological development was uninterrupted, even accelerated. Inventions were constantly emerging. Trade routes expanded to Asia and Africa earlier, connecting the world with a Roman economic network. Rome established a global economic and cultural network. From the early centuries of the new millennium, Roman influence was pervasive. Within the next 100 to 200 years, Pax Romana would truly encompass a large part of the world. Peace and order would be maintained. Oceanic explorations were driven by the need for territorial expansion. Rome sought new resources and lands. This led to Rome's access and colonization of the Americas, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Oceania centuries earlier. Latin would become the global lingua franca. People worldwide would communicate using this language. Roman law would be the standard legal system. Justice and order would be established from Rome to the farthest lands. Roman-style cities would emerge across continents. With magnificent architecture and modern infrastructure, they would shape the world. Greco-Roman civilization would be the archetype for social, political, and scientific development in most cultures. However, this could also lead to strong assimilation. Indigenous cultures would fade, even perish. A more uniform yet less diverse world, where the uniqueness of each people might have ceased to exist. The prospect of a global Roman Empire raises many questions. Would a world dominated by Rome truly be better? Or would it be another form of autocracy, where other civilizations would never have the chance to develop independently? History would certainly be very different. The concepts of West and East might not exist. Please leave your comments or share another interesting historical hypothesis.